Hello and happy Sunday. I am Kiana Sage. I don't normally sing in public, but here I am. Hello, happy Sunday, casual Sunday. Today we are on part 2 of expanding consciousness through mental flexibility. That is the topic today. We'll just wait about 5 minutes for people to join on, get their notifications and hop on. Whoever comes in, comes in. See who it is. So this is a 5-part series on expanding consciousness. Ooh, my tea is strong. I'm drinking a tea that's called Inner Light. Hello, Oliver. A little bit later than I normally come on. Let's see if anybody joins us. Hey, Jono. Good to Zoya. Hello, you guys. Good to see you. Today's part 2, folks. Mental flexibility. I think this one, they all are important, but I think this one, of all of the parts, this one is the hardest one. The hardest aspect. How are you doing on this Sunday? Or is it Monday where you are? Zoya, I think it's Monday, right? It's casual day today. It's the holidays here, so you know. Let's see who's going to join us today. Oh, it looks like we have new neighbors that have a new dog. Welcome in, everybody. Whoever's coming in for part 2 of expanding in consciousness. How did yesterday's sit with you? Attention. Did you think about it? It is 20:49 here. Sunday. Okay. Hello. Japan. Hello. I actually just got a message from one of my friends in Japan today. I haven't talked to him in a while. I've been to Japan, I think 9 times. I love Japan. My husband loves Japan. Japan is pretty amazing. Hello, hello. Is that Ali-san? I love how that's spelled. Okay, y'all, we're going to go ahead and get started on today's topic. Has it been 5 minutes? Let me see. Oh, it's only been 3. We'll wait 2 more minutes for people to join in. You feel so connected today. Oh, good. Good. Good for you, Jono. It's good to feel connected. I mean, oh, Neymar, what are you saying? I mean, how to grow easily. How will grow easily? We're talking about expanding in consciousness, which is about growth. Larna, I think I didn't ignore you. It's just I didn't want to butcher your name. I'm so sorry. Hello, Brazil. Lauren? Am I saying that right? I'm so sorry. I didn't want to butcher your name, but I saw you. I just feel I really mess up on the name sometimes, and people get really mad. So I'm sorry. Abe from India. D-Rex, where are you from, Canada? All right, y'all. Oh, it's your last name. So sorry. I didn't miss you. I just didn't want to ruin it. Thank you for forgiving me. Hey, Jay. Good for you. I didn't feel so sad. That's right, Jono. You're finding that when you are intentional, that you will not have the same emotional highs and lows. Good observation. Congratulations. That's amazing. Neymar is saying how to prevent overthinking and improve concentration quality. Hey, Neymar, Jonah is just telling you from yesterday's video, he practiced intention setting and being in connection, and he saw a difference. I recommended the intention setting. Oh, orange tree. Oh, I see. Zoya, I see your name. I don't see a profile. No. I have to admit, I'm not that technically savvy on here, but I don't see any profiles on here at all. Okay, so it's 5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and get going on today's topic. Today's topic is expanding consciousness. We're talking about part 2. And yesterday we talked about attention, specific attention to your heart and healing your heart of pain, hurts, vulnerabilities. All of those are really important. And going through not just woe is me, but really acknowledging the emotions behind the hurt and the heart so you can heal and expand. That was yesterday's part 1. Part 2, hey Jay, part 2 today is all about mental flexibility. Specifically, I'm going to talk about 3 aspects. Now, I've talked about mental flexibility in the past, and there are those of you who think that you're mentally flexible. I thought I was mentally flexible. I thought I was when I started out. And looking back at how I was many years ago to where I am now, that was not mental flexibility. Just because you are open does not mean you're open. So here are the criteria for being more mentally flexible. First, it's allowing. It is allowing. You allow others to be just who they are. Even if you don't like them, you just allow. They are who they are, you are allowing. And then with that, you're accepting. So there's no need to judge them. So that's number 3, non-judgment. Pow, pow, pow. You allow, you accept, and you be in non-judgment. That is mental flexibility. Now, that seems so simple, right? Why do so many people resist being mentally flexible? Because they are opinionated, or they are attached, or they believe these ideas that they have in their head and they go unchallenged because they haven't used critical thinking. They just believe what people tell them. And that's not mental flexibility. In fact, that's a closed system. Closed systems will bring in stagnation. They will bring in a heavier, what's called density energetically. So you can look at it that way. Mental flexibility, it's not a know-it-all. It's you accept it all. And you can accept something and not judge it at the same time. And just because you're accepting something does not mean you're in agreement with it. So I'm going to get to the questions. Hey, Mick. So good to see you. I love seeing you regulars in here. So good to see you. And is that Sabra? I think I'm saying your name wrong. I'm sorry. Okay, I get distracted. I get distracted when I mess up. Hey, Jay. Yes, I see you here. Okay. So you can not like something and still accept it. And still not go into agreement with it by consciously knowing, hey, I'm accepting you as you are, but I'm not in agreement with it. And having that awareness, that will help you make some distinguished, discernment. And discernment's really powerful. If you want to really do a kick butt goal for the new year, discernment. Okay, so now that you're mentally flexible, you're allowing. That means that you allow everybody to be who they are, regardless if it's a preference or not. Preference is okay. Judgment, not the best for you. It's not the best for them, and it's not the best for relationships. So we always want to be in non-judgment and also know what we're going into agreement with and what we're not going into agreement with. All these things will help you create patterns of more flexibility within your mind, body, soul, and spirit. And as we know, the natural laws works through physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. So they're always running patterns. And our mental inflexibility shows us where we're going to have energy blocks. Excuse me. And so we don't want energy blocks if we can help it. But we can't help it if we are stuck in our ways, in our belief systems. And our belief systems will often cause us to be mentally fragmented, unfortunately. Now, I'm just going out on a limb on saying that, but I do believe that when we are so stubborn or another word that you guys might be familiar with, perfectionist, or you just like things a particular way, which I like things a particular way. That doesn't mean I don't accept other ways. It just means that other ways aren't necessarily a preference. It's okay as long as I'm not in judgment. So who judges whether you're in judgment? Well, your heart, your soul, your experience will show. If you're feeling resistance, that's going to mean that there's something going on there that you're not allowing or accepting, or that maybe you've gone into agreement with something that goes against your inner congruence. Okay, so what else would be most helpful for mental flexibility? I would say a practice that would be really supportive in understanding your mental flexibility is looking at how often throughout the day that you're just noticing and having awareness of being in acceptance of all that is. When you're in acceptance of all that is, you're going into alignment with the natural laws. That doesn't mean you're going into agreement with everything. It just means that you're in alignment with the natural laws, which is no resistance, right? Acceptance of all doesn't mean that you're in agreement with all. And I think that's where a lot of people get kind of tripped up, is that they think that if they accept something, then they're agreeing to it. It's not true. When you accept, the key is if you are in alignment with your values. And I think that's really where people get kind of tripped up. So anyways, that's what I have to say about mental flexibility. What do you think about mental flexibility? Just going to see what questions you have. Zoya, you said you had a bunch of questions, so let's hear what you have to say here. Lots of spam today. Jono is saying growth mindset, ability to compromise and see other perspectives, and non-judgment are what crossed my mind. Being fixed and closed mind is never good. Well, closed systems create, ultimately they create illness and they create dis-ease. So that's when you think about how dangerous it could be. And I had a friend the other day say, and it was so on point, that all disease occurs in the mind. And that's so true, because we get stuck in our ways and we don't even know it. So it's really not even what you're conscious of, but it's working on the undercurrents, right? Those things that you can't see, that are hidden or buried, that are playing out in your field. Oh, so you're Sabra. You're Mr. Sabra. You're feeding the monkeys. It's Sunday. How is monkey feeding today? Good to see you today. Oh, good for you. We were thinking about you the other day. I was thinking about you giving the monkeys and how they must really appreciate your being there. You signed up for a gym membership and you're already in pain. I'm sorry to hear that. Sarab. Okay, thank you for helping me with that. Sarab. Nice to meet you, Sarab. Thank you. You're saying I am intelligent. Well, thank you. I am just trying to do my best every single day and being in alignment. So I want to talk about this mindset, because a lot of people talk about mindset. And Jono mentioned it here in the comments. And I think a lot of people use this language not understanding that the language does not support your growth. So mindset is establishing a pattern that sets, and people actually get stuck in sets. There are energetically, everything comes in with an instruction set. So I am not a fan of mindsets because we want to have fluid in our thinking. And, you know, it's work in progress. We're always learning. Mick says, I wish I could train now. I would love to go crazy training. You could do a lot, Mick. It's never too late. Hey, Peace. Peace back to you. Mental health and physical health, which one is more important? Well, I don't, they're all equally important. And I think this is a very sabra. I think this is a very interesting question that you're asking, because we have been conditioned and programmed to isolate physical, mental, emotional, and most people don't even understand that they have a spiritual body. So it's all of our bodies, they work in unification. So what is more important? One or all? They're all equally important. They all have an equally important role. And what is more important than another? It depends on how infiltrated one has become over another. So for me, when I was really focused on cleansing, obviously the physical body was important, but I didn't just work on my physical body. I was also working on my emotional, my spiritual, my mental state. Like, they're all important. So I would say what's most important is unification. And how are you working out in your physical, like when you're at the gym, bringing in the conscious breath. Bringing in the conscious breath is going to directly impact your emotional states and your mental states, and it's going to open you up spiritually. So that's what I have to say about that. Jono, is questioning our thoughts and beliefs conducive to bringing mental flexibility? I think it's important. I think it's important to begin to question what we think, because most people don't question their thoughts, and therefore they believe their thoughts are true, and they even believe their beliefs are in alignment when they've never even questioned their beliefs. So, you know, questioning and using critical thinking about what it is that you think. Is this thought congruent? Is this thought in alignment? Is this thought even mine? You know, most people think that their thoughts are only theirs, but there's a collective consciousness at play, and there's a lot of nefarious energies. Most people that are doing those, what do you call them? They're doing those shoot-ups where they're going into schools and all that. These people aren't in their right minds. They're infiltrated. I would say the vast majority of them probably have some kind of nefarious energies operating through them, because they don't have their house cleaned up inside. And when we don't mind our house, it gets infiltrated. And so many people haven't been taught on how to create the house of Christ within, for example, because they think Christ is a religion. It's not a religion. It is an energy. It's a frequency. It's a consciousness. It's not just a dogma associated with a religion. But because religions have really infiltrated societies, people are turned off by religion or Christ consciousness, which is crazy, right? Anyways, just food for thought. Culture saying hi. I'm very happy and interested about your subjects. Thank you so much, Culture. We're here to talk about the natural laws and being in alignment with practices and expanding in consciousness. Today is part 2. We're talking about mental flexibility today. Mick is saying, I can't do any training with my ribs. Use conscious breath, Mick. Use your conscious breath and spend 5 or 10 minutes just doing the breathing into your ribs and see how that helps. Conscious breath in with pain is transformative. I know that from my own personal experience. It will bring you into a neutral state, which is where healing occurs too. Hi, Martin. Good to see you. Sabra is saying, please like the video. Thank you, Sabra. You know, this is a small channel. I just come on here every day for this Being in Sync 366 video series, trying to do my best to serve humanity in ways that promote honesty, integrity, the natural laws, and becoming more aligned within. Hi, Dean. Good to see you here. Mind-muscle connection is important in the gym. Hey, the heart is a muscle. The heart is a muscle too. Yes, I think it was it last year? Or for about a year and a half, I've been focusing a lot on heart health, specifically, like, except for the last, 2 weeks that I've been sick. But up until then, I hadn't been sick all year. And I've been working on my, what is it called? Zone training. I love it. I love it. Healthy self-awareness, because sometimes people just believe their own stories. Hey, a story is a story, you know, and people do believe what they believe. You know, who are we to challenge people's beliefs? I only do that when I'm invited to do that by my clients. It's been a work in progress, but I often see where people are telling their stories, and what I feel as an empath is the incongruence with their truth. So they could tell a story, but it doesn't mean it's aligned. Hi, Mike. Good to see you. Sabra is saying, I have a sixth sense. What do you think? What I think sometimes, almost every time, becomes true. When something negative happens, I get to know that before it happens. Interesting. Well, how would you shift that from perceiving it as negative as just a sense? And it doesn't have to be that something negative is happening, or what that tells me is that you're probably very intuitive. And when we're intuiting, you will be strengthened when you are not judging what's positive or negative. It's just a thing. Like the other day, I received messages saying that there's going to be a lot of devastation. That's just a statement. It's not a judgment. And do I wish devastation? No. Do I prefer devastation? No. But I'm not saying it's good or bad, because when I am practicing, right, as I'm offering you all to expand in consciousness, we want to be as neutral as possible, allowing, accepting, and not being in judgment of what it is that we are perceiving. And from that place, we get insights on how to shift and change and potentially change something. Jono is saying, I prefer God consciousness over Christ consciousness, as I believe. Jesus was the only one here as a message, as a prophet, as a guide. Well, they're two different frequencies. They're not the same. So it's okay to have preferences, but know that there is a distinctive difference. And you follow whatever feels most aligned for you, because there's also unity consciousness. They're not separate. They're just different frequencies, different consciousness. Mick is saying it's not pain I have to overcome as much as physical pain. You probably wouldn't believe it's sitting around doing nothing. Doing the breathing healing is just time. Right, but sometimes, Mick, those times where we're forced to be still is when we're being challenged to initiate into our next phase. So physical pain often is a forcer of the stillness. And so are we willing to be still? I mean, I know when I was sick, when I got this, whatever I have, and I was sick and in bed for hours, I was doing my breathing, and it was hard. And I do this all the time. And I thought, I understand why people struggle with it, because it's just easier to just sit and watch and feel the pain than it is to consciously be present with the pain. And I would see when I had a fever, I could see the pain and the aches bounce throughout my body. It was really intense, very intense. Anyways, Sabra, I think the majority of us are judgmental. Yeah, the biggest problem nowadays is people just don't listen to understand, they listen to reply. Sometimes, but not always. You know, we don't want to judge the judgers either, you know. You can see the loop, right? What happens when we're around people who aren't mentally flexible, it puts us in states of being. I had a friend who was having an experience, and they were with a bunch of people that were very, let's just say, competitive and highly judgmental and completely unconscious of their judgmentalness. And every time they were around these people, they would get an entity attachment. And an entity attachment can come in through thought waves. And one of the ways that this guy would play is to get into people's minds and basically mess with them. And it's not a very nice or competitive way to be. It's a way that a lot of people win, and that people get infected with these thought forms, which become entities because they burrow in the mind. Yeah, crazy. So we don't want to judge the judgers. We just want to see them and then consciously make choices. Do we want to be around people who are like that? What are we getting out of it? Because a lot of times what we're getting out of that is pulled down a rung. And it's hard for people to understand that other people would want to pull people down. Why would you want to do that? But they do. There are so many frequencies, Jono. So many. Spirit is very abundant. Very abundant. So much more than people can comprehend. Even myself, even when I encounter something new, I'm like, what? Really? Okay. You know, it's like, aha. Thank you, Perry. Sabra is saying, I personally feel physical pain is less harmful as compared to mental pain. Your tongue doesn't have a bone. However, it has the power. If you speak bad, you will end up getting your bones broken. Wow. Yeah, well, mental strength, I think, is directly correlated with how open we are in our hearts. So that's why I started with yesterday, like, let's pay attention to our hearts and then go into the mental aspects, because the mental aspects gets a lot of attention because there's so much imbalance. There's a lot of imbalance, one, because people haven't been conditioned properly and they don't have mental strength. And so when you don't have mental strength, you also don't have flexibility. So, and people have been programmed to do these mind sets, and they don't realize that these mind sets are actually instruction sets that actually will keep you locked in, because there are energy locks in the ways that people think and believe. But, you know, I'm not doing an energy session. This is how I talk when I'm doing my sessions. Let's see. But yeah, it's good not to talk bad about other people. And even when you're thinking bad things about other people, sometimes those aren't even your thoughts. But you think them doesn't mean that they're yours, which is why it's important to disidentify from your thinking. Because your thoughts are not who you are, but they do create form. Jono is saying it's important to protect our energies through conscious choice and thought. It is important to use conscious choice. I hesitate to use the word protection because I think most people who are using protection types of forms are done so out of fear and instead of energetic health or hygiene. Sabra is asking me to tell us about yourself, how many kids you have, how you got to meet your partner, plus we wish to know who proposed first. It sounds funny, however, I wish to know. Well, I don't have any children. I have a puppy. And my husband and I are coming up on 10 years married this year. And yeah, I met him in Thailand. And I think I've told that story before. Traveling abroad, I was coming back from a elephant refugee camp, and where I had been volunteering with the elephants out in Thailand, and I had one stay in Bangkok before I flew to my next destination, and as did he, and we ended up at the same restaurant, rooftop bar before we both left the next day to different destinations. And so we've been in touch ever since then. That was over 12 years ago, and here we are today, still going strong. Mick, Kiana, have you ever felt the presence of God around you? Yeah, all the time. All the time. 2 times I have in the last year and a half, and it was about 2 weeks ago. Congratulations. I see God in all things. So I have an experience in the presence of God in ways that seem really simple. Sabra is saying, kindly adopt me. I will get new parents, plus I will become rich, LOL. Well, you know, your parents are part of your soul journey. So Sabra, I would invite you into the soul journey and learning, allowing and acceptance and non-judgments in with the parents. I would say, having both my parents pass when I was fairly young, I would say that it's much easier in the non-physical than it is in the physical. But your parents are here, you have opportunities to grow and expand, and if you could do it from a space of consciousness, if there's anything I regret, it's not being more conscious when my mother was in the physical form. But you know, we all have our paths, as did we, and I have no doubt that the learning happens whether you are consciously going after it or not. It will expand you exponentially if you're willing to do your soul work in relationship to your parents. Mercy, no Mercy, hi, good to see you. Let's see, Mercy, no Mercy is saying, do you feel that stereotypes predispose men to mental health issues? Well, I think, okay, let me just finish what you're saying. As a man, I feel like I'm constantly asked to strike a balance and it doesn't exist. Well, no Mercy. I will say that females as well as males are under attack, okay? Humanity and consciousness is under attack. So I do think that the stereotypes are there to kind of push people into the masses and create more separation. And when you choose to not go with the stereotypes, which I've never been stereotypical, unless I go to the East Coast and then they say, oh, you're so California. But, hold on one second. So I will say it's good, no Mercy, to not to have awareness of stereotypes, number one, and number two, disidentify from them. I think that's healthy. I think that takes a really strong man to do that. And I think a lot of men have been weakened socially because they have been put in conditions that are inconducive to expanding from their heart. And a lot of men, not all men, a lot of men struggle for really finding their footing, if you will. And I think you're using the word balance, but finding your footing in the truth of who you are. And that will be done from your heart space. And when you are balanced and expanded from within your heart, your mental capacities will shift and change, okay? But I think it's important to understand that our governments, our societies, our cultures are part of the programming. And it's not all here to serve you expanding in your heart. And so when you understand that we're having a war on consciousness, that you as a man and a man in his power creates a difficulty for the masses to go along with, then you buck the system. They don't want people bucking the system. People, governments, agencies, organizations, they don't like it when people challenge the status quo. I think that's part of what we're here to do. We're here to embrace our full identity and expression. How can you do that if you're just following what everybody else is doing? To follow your own sense of self means that you align with your own truth, and your own truth isn't going to be the same as your friends. And it means that you can accept and allow them to have their own ways that don't match yours. I don't know very many people that match how I think and how I believe. If I did, I wouldn't have a business. You know, if I was like all the other coaches when coaching was really popular, I don't even know if it's popular anymore. That field got so watered down. But anybody that came to me and said, oh, I've worked with a coach before, Kiana, when I first started consulting, I didn't have to ask this question. But then after about 5 years into my consulting, I started to have to ask, have you worked with a coach before? Because then these people got preconceived ideas about what my work was. And so I would have to then ask them to just release their ideas of their story about what their experience may or may not be, because this is going to be different than what they've worked with in the past. I have never worked with another coach or client who's worked with me that said I was like anybody that they've worked with before. Now, other coaches will say, oh, I know somebody who does what you do. But they don't, because unless you've had an experience with me, you would have no idea what it is I'm doing. You would have your ideas about it, which are incorrect, because my work is 100% experiential. Now, I do experiential work because, one, I think it's the most powerful. Two, it gets the most significant change the fastest. And I want my clients to have palatable change in their lives. If they're coming to me, I want them to have more greater alignment with it, period. Now, when other coaches, they're just hoping for an insight and an aha sometimes. I can't say for sure because I don't work with them. But I have had them as colleagues in the past, and they always wanted to know, what are you doing, Kiana? How are you getting your clients? How do you get such good results? And it's because my clients are aligned and congruent. You can't get results if you're not aligned and congruent. So I think I kind of went off on a tangent with this, but to bring it back around to what you were saying, no mercy, is that you have to be willing to buck the system to be in alignment with your true identity, the truth of who you are. And I would offer to you, answer, who are you? And what do you believe? And what are you in service to? I think that would help you tremendously. And, there are men out there, and I would say until I started my spiritual journey, I had not met any men that were even in their heart and accepting until I started my spiritual journey. So the more you dive in, the more you will find people that you resonate with. And so I would say maybe you're just not in the right crew, but you are now. You're here. Look at Mick and look at Jono. We got a lot of good, solid men in here that are bucking the system. Sabra says, I lost my mom in 2002. My dad doesn't like my thinking. He is diplomatic and straightforward. Well, it's okay. Can you accept that he doesn't like it and that's okay? It doesn't mean he doesn't like you. It just might mean that your directness causes him to look at himself differently and he doesn't want to do that. A lot of people don't like that. But directness, in my opinion, is I like it. Well, Sabra, I would say, what makes you think that your thought process needs to match? No Mercy, you are so welcome. Thank you for being here. Mick Dawn is saying the Holy Spirit and then the presence of God is more intense the second time. It was like a birthing pain. Well, we're going through a rebirth as a humanity for sure. And the heavy presence in the room was such a powerful force, not like the first time. And then the peace of the energy came over me. I wonder, it sounds like you had a really huge release of density by what I'm seeing here. Just going to jump down. Incredible, much stronger than the first time. I don't say things lightly. I believe things are coming. I think that, the energies are changing, but it sounds like you had a huge uplift of density. And I would say it seems to coincide with this need to be in the stillness, Mick. I think it's divinely guided, to be honest with you, based on what little contact we have. I would say you are being divinely guided to be still, to be present. And your ribs are the method in which the stillness is coming through. I'm getting a strong yes on this. It's just my opinion based on what little you've shared. But No Mercy is saying, I totally agree. Sometimes it makes more sense to hear from someone else rather than being lost in one's thoughts. Well, you're welcome here. You're not by yourself. And it's good to bounce off and get feedback. I agree. No Mercy, I think you're shifting, and maybe your awareness is part of that. So again, today is about mental flexibility. So we want to allow, accept, and be in non-judgment of other people that don't understand programming, that don't understand conditioning. And maybe, No Mercy, your question is really a surface question, but maybe the deeper question is, what programming and conditioning do I need to unravel? Something to think about. Sabra is saying, nowadays I think people will only love you when you fulfill their expectations. Well, isn't that sad? If you're unable to fulfill their expectations, then they start hating you. Love comes with a price tag. Well, that's a very jaded perspective, Sabra, but I can see what you're saying. And maybe because you've come into a lot of financial wealth, that you're seeing that people are different around you because you have a lot of abundance. But the abundance of love and seeing it in your relationships is going to be when you start understanding that you are the love that you want to expand. It's not that you need to seek it from outside yourself. It's that you seek it from within you. Because when you are seeing yourself fully embodied in the truth of who you are, you can love people and not give them things and not even care about their expectations. Doesn't mean you don't have learning from it, but you're always resonating. right? So if you want to shift your resonance with who you have around you, shift it. Have awareness. Like, I see these people are greedy. I don't want to be around greedy people. I want to be around people who are in expansion of love. That'll shift it totally. And then you start noticing it. But if you continue to hold that perception of others, I would ask you to look at how are you not being fulfilling your own expectations of your thoughts about who you're supposed to be. That's pretty deep. No Mercy says, awesome. Thank you for your reply and professionalism. This is something that recently has been coming to mind as I get older. 38 young. I guess I'm entering a different stage of my life. Hey, we do have stages and we have cycles in life. So you might want to look up your spiritual cycles and become more familiar of the cycles that we go through, because our soul goes through cycles. And so maybe what you're just in tune with, No Mercy, is the cycles of your soul and the need to align more consciously. Hello, Harim. Your message is not here, so it might have gotten deleted, Harim. I don't see it here. Okay, you all. So mental flexibility was the topic. Zoya said she had a lot of questions. And Zoya, are you still here? I haven't heard any questions. Or were you just allowing? I've given lots of money to her parents because they are poor. I give lots of money to my wife's mom because she asked me to help them. I did that, but I don't know. You're not liking it. Well, maybe there's this thing called obligation. And when we do things out of obligations and not with an open heart, it changes how we feel about it. Mick, I agree with you. Mick is saying, I don't celebrate my birthday. I heard this guy saying unconsciously you age quicker when you do. I celebrate my birthday, as you know. I have my flowers back there. I got flowers here. This is what I bought myself. It smells like a florist in here. Anyways, I do agree with you. I think that's probably true about the bird. I think that there's a lot of programming in things that humanity does because society tells us to. But I still enjoy, I think it's important to celebrate yourself. So I enjoyed it. I don't do birthday dinners or anything like that. But I think it's okay. Whatever your heart resonates with. You know, I think that's ultimately the truth. It smells so good. So I had a silent tea ceremony for my birthday. That was what I really wanted to do. And so everybody who joined, I bought a particular flower. I intuited which flower to purchase on their behalf. And that's how that bouquet came to be. So it was really special. And it's probably been one of the neatest things I've done for my birthday. Anyways, I think Zoya's gone. We've talked a lot about mental flexibility. I think the biggest thing with being mentally flexible is having a very clear intention and know that it's important to accept all things. Thank you, culture. Good to see you here. I have to tell you, they smell so good. I mean, I didn't have to tell you that. I wanted to share that with you. I'm not really a flower person. I don't really buy myself tons of flowers. But I really enjoyed, it was a different experience to have invited people into my meditation, which I normally don't. I mean, I have a very small meditation group. But I am opening up for New Year's Day. If you feel inclined, I'm going to be opening up the silent tea ceremony if you're interested. Mick is saying, no, I just saw, made sense what the guy was saying. Okay, did I miss something? Money is not God. It's just a fuel to step forward in life, right? No, I just saw it made sense a guy was saying that. Thank you so much. All right, y'all. Well, we've been here for about an hour. It's been really fun talking to you. I like the intimate conversations that we're able to have. I hope this discussion on mental flexibility allows you to look at where you might be stuck mentally and how you're perceiving things, and where you might, and you could even just ask the question, where might I bring in more mental flexibility into my life? What aspects do I feel like stuck? What aspects am I really harsh? Or do I have a lot of rules? Or do I have those types of things? That will help. Well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your attention, your presence, your contribution, your support, your beautiful comments. You didn't celebrate your birthday at all, Mick. That's okay. If that didn't resonate with you, it doesn't resonate with you. It's okay. It's so interesting when we start doing things that are not, quote unquote, the norm. You know, when we just do what's in our heart for our birthdays. I told you back when I turned 30, I used to do something every day, every birthday that was a risk, that would remind me to take risks in my life. Because I think it's so easy to get stuck in complacency. Too easy. All right, you all, I'm going to jump off. I'll see you tomorrow for part 3 on expanding consciousness. I hope you will practice and engage and start to look at how you might be more mentally flexible in your life and see what you come up with. And see what practices you can instill within yourself to change things up, whether it's going different directions or to work or changing how you say hello or good morning, just like little things. Little things make big differences. So look for that 1 degree shift. Okay, thank you so much. Thanks so much, Culture. Thank you all. You have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow for another segment of this series. Talk to you soon. Bye.